Hello. How's everyone today? So I'm just at home. I couldn't get connection earlier today. I'm sorry. I was meant to be on at 1 o'clock, and I couldn't get connection in my office. So I'm at home having a cup of tea, licorice tea. How are you all going today? So, for those of you that haven't seen me yet and haven't watched the video, my name is Naomi Judge. I'm a naturopath and nutritionist, and I specialize in women's health and hormones. And today I'm going to be talking about estrogen, a female sex hormone. Men have it as well, but it's one of the most important between progesterone and estrogen. They're the sort of the main hormones in relation to the menstrual cycle, fertility, women's sexual growth, that kind of thing. So it's a very important hormone. I'm here to talk to you today about estrogen dominance. So estrogen, it's a needed hormone, but there's a problem today with estrogen actually being too dominant. It's in excess today, and it's causing all sorts of problems like resistant weight, PMS, even estrogen-dependent cancers, issues with mood, depression, restless legs, water retention, all of those kind of things. In fact, I've got a little bit of a story with estrogen dominance. When I was probably before, around 10 years ago, a little bit more than that, I actually had issues with estrogen dominance, and I had all sorts of problems. I had painful, heavy periods. Oh, they were excruciating. And I used to have the worst mood swings. That week before my period, the worst mood swings, when I would get so moody, so angry, and just fly off the handle really easily. And I couldn't understand what it was. And then finally what happened to me is I actually got a large, really big ovarian cyst, it was about this big. I mean, that's quite large. And I was quite young at the time, and I was even vegetarian. So it was surprising. I was surprised that I had got this and that I had suffered from this. So I actually had to have an operation to have this ovarian cyst out. And I was actually told by surgeons, that ovary will be scarred and I may have problems with fertility. So that was quite a worrying sign. Hi, Ashley. How are you going? So that was quite a worrying sign, that I had these symptoms for estrogen dominance at such a young age. I remember it was like depression, moody, agitated, I couldn't sleep. I just didn't have any energy, and I just felt listless. And then finally I got this ovarian cyst that I had to have removed. And that kind of started my journey to alternative health and actually looking into women's health and hormones and seeing what else could be done. I didn't want to go back for surgery with these ovarian cysts because I did have a couple. The first one I got was I was actually about 14 and it ruptured. And that's so young, but it's all due to this estrogen dominance, this stress in our environment. These estrogens in the environment, they're in plastics, they're in chemicals. If our body's not detoxifying, then we have an issue with estrogen. So it is a huge problem, not just in women who are menstruating, but also in young girls, young kids, I've seen it. And also in men, it's a big one in men. So they might put on weight in various places, or man boobs, or even have mood problems. So if you find that a man gets issues with his mood, like through the month, sometimes if your man gets a little bit down or depressed, there is an issue that he might have with estrogen. And also if he has thinning hair as well, estrogen does cause hair loss. So it's an issue for men as well, but it's a huge issue for women, and it's causing this epidemic. It's making women, sad, have tempers, depressed, and it can be managed, but it is a difficult one to manage. So today I'm just going to share with you my 5 top tips, and then if you've got any questions, feel free to chime in and ask me. Just quickly, the signs and symptoms that I see with estrogen dominance are things like excessive cellulite, weight gain on the hips, the bums, the thighs, hair loss, moodiness, PMT, restless legs, particularly at night, insomnia, anxiety, heart palpitations is a big one as well. Hair loss I mentioned, and then just extreme pain and clotting. So very heavy clotting periods with extreme pain, but the periods are pretty heavy. You're more likely to have an issue with estrogen if your periods are shorter. So if your periods are like come every 18 days, every 22 days, that's more like estrogen dominance, rather than if they're spacious. So some people don't only get their periods every 40 days, 45 days, you're more likely to have an issue with testosterone then. So there are signs and symptoms to look out for. It's particularly common when you get stress. It's particularly common when you have a bad diet. Some women get it post-pregnancy, post-breastfeeding. They can have an issue with estrogen. And that's where the thyroid implication comes in as well. They kind of go hand in hand. So my number one tip, my first thing to do for estrogen is fiber. Fiber is so important because fiber helps to cleanse the bowel, and the bowel is one of the places that we synthesize hormones. We get ready to detox them, cleanse them, and change them into other materials so we can excrete them from our body. If we're not having enough fiber, we might be getting constipated, we may not be having a complete evacuation, and we just may not be detoxing our bowel appropriately. So that encourages excess estrogen actually in that area, can be reabsorbed and cause a whole lot of problems. So fiber is very, very important. You want to have about 40 grams a day. Given that avocados are about 12 grams of fiber, a cup of sweet potato is about 6 to 10 grams of fiber. What else is good? So broccoli, actually I've written it down over there, broccoli is 6 grams, a cup of broccoli is 6 grams. So you can see if you have enough vegetables, legumes over the day, a cup of legumes is around 12 grams of fiber. So if you just make sure you're having your fiber in each meal, it's a fantastic thing to do. Make sure you're not, if you're on a low starch diet or a low carbohydrate diet, make sure you're getting your fiber from other things, particularly your vegetables, because that's really going to help to excrete the estrogen. So that's my first tip. My second tip is just really simple, and it's water. And the reason being is drinking tap water, you've got the fluoride in there, you've got the chlorine in there. The chlorine itself is quite estrogenic, so it's really important that you drink filtered water. So about 2 litres of filtered water a day to help the body detox, cleanse and excrete what it needs to. But it's really important that it's filtered. So my recommendation is just get, EcoBird or Alkaway, one of those kind of jugs if you want to, and that helps to cleanse out the fluoride and the chlorine. Or you can invest in sort of a larger water filter, for a couple of $100, but just a simple jug one will do. The Brita water filter actually only filters parasites and things like that. It doesn't filter everything, so it's really important you get a water filter that does get rid of everything in the water. And that then have about 2 litres a day, 1 to 2 litres depending on your activity, and if you've had anything that's kind of dehydrating during the day, or if you feel a bit dehydrated. The next one is to increase foods with indoles and sulfur in. Now, indoles are food chemicals that actually help with methylation, they help with cleansing, they help with detox, and they actually help remove estrogen from the body via the liver. The same with sulfur. Sulfur is actually very, very important for cleansing. It's one of the most important compounds for cleansing, and we're actually a little bit deficient in it. You can get it from sulfur vegetables like your kale, your broccoli, your Brussels, your sprouts, onions, garlic, those kind of things. But it is hard. It's one of those things we're low in, and signs that you're low in sulfur, often skin signs like your eczema, dry skin, psoriasis, dermatitis, those kind of things. Sulfur, if you're getting enough sulfur, it really helps the connective tissue, but it really helps externally your skin, and you'll notice your skin brighten up. Some people take a supplement called MSM, which is taken for joints, to actually help joints. A lot of people with arthritis take it, especially for pain. That's actually a sulfur-based molecule or supplement, and that helps with cleansing, detoxing, connective tissue, skin, that kind of thing. So if you have any skin complaints, or you suffer from pain through arthritis or joint problems, then sulfur is a really good one to add in, especially in the diet. But you can also take supplements like MSM. So just see how you go with that. The next one is beauty products and cleaning agents. So this is something, our home can be filled with chemicals, but particularly if you've got estrogen issues, or you've got young children, teenage girls that are having issues with PMS and periods, I would really encourage you to have a look at the environment and have a look at what beauty products they're using, and just try and minimize them. I mean, it can be unrealistic to say, do everything, but what I would minimize, and what I use a couple of things that I know have chemicals in, and that's just my choice. But I don't use, for my body cream, I just use coconut oil. I use a moisturizer on my skin, just because I've got one that I like and it works, and So I use, but it's low chemical. It doesn't have any parabens in or anything like that. And in my home, I use all natural stuff. I'll use clove, I'll use essential oils in water to clean. I do use a little bit of bleach here and there, but I try to really minimize it. I don't spray things, copious amounts of things. I really try to minimize it. I also don't have scented candles that have fragrance in, so I keep that to a minimum. I've got a couple of natural candles, but I use a lot of essential oil in water and burn that, and that helps to give you that nice fresh smelling house if that's something for you. But I don't have lots of sprays that I spray around, and particularly what I don't have is those electric sprays, you know, the ones that go in and they kind of pump the spray out, because you're just breathing that stuff in all the time. So it's really important to just minimize it, minimize the chemicals that are going on your skin, and just stick to a couple of ones that you really want. And that goes, you know, if you've got kids as well, just be careful about all the perfumes, all the cheap perfumes they're spraying on, deodorants and that kind of thing. I mean, if you're using a spray on deodorant, maybe swap over to a roll-on, then from a roll-on maybe swap over to a natural one, but go with things that aren't spray. You're not spraying them in the environment, because that can be very dangerous. You're breathing them in and they go into your lungs, and it's really easy to absorb. And you'll find that it's particularly if you're diagnosed with anything like polycystic ovarian syndrome or endometriosis, which is an estrogenic condition, you know, too much estrogen causing tissue, the endometrial tissue, to grow, and that kind of tissue elsewhere, I would really stay away from the chemicals as much as possible, and do a little bit of a home cleanse and a home clean to get rid of all the chemicals as much as possible. Next is sleep hygiene. So sleep is so important to bring your estrogen down. So melatonin is our sleep hormone, and melatonin, actually when our melatonin elevates, it brings estrogen down naturally. And so it's really important for your sleep hygiene. So if you're sleeping in a light bedroom, for instance, that can actually reduce your melatonin. And at the same time, that light can actually increase estrogen. So it's really, really important for your sleep hygiene. So completely blacked out room. You can even put things like, I know people for their babies, they put tin foil over their window to keep the light out completely. So things like that, you know, are vital for your sleep. Turn off all electrical equipment. So turn off any, you know, in your bedroom, make sure you haven't got any televisions or anything that are turned on in the night, computers, that kind of thing. Turn your phone to flight mode. Turn off plugs that aren't being used. Have your Wi-Fi on a timer. So buy one of those little timer switches and pop your Wi-Fi on a timer, so your main Wi-Fi goes off at a particular time each night, and then it comes on the next day. It's really, really important, because this stuff is real. The stuff with the electricity, the stuff with Wi-Fi, that type of frequency is affecting our, it's kind of endocrine disruptors. It is affecting our hormones, and it's causing that kind of estrogen dominance in our bodies, and younger children as well. So it's not just us that are affected. So I would just get diligent with that. You know, if you've got three TVs in your house, or even if you've got one in your bedroom, maybe look at getting rid of that one and just having one, and just minimizing, and then also just managing when things are switched off at night, because that will go a long way for your health, and it will really help your sleep. So with sleep, you know, black out your room, make sure that you haven't got any electrical equipment by your head buzzing away, make sure that's all turned off. I've only got one lamp in my bedroom, and that's kind of away from the head of the bed, and that's it, no other electrical devices. Make sure you've got, you know, a nice temperature room for your sleep. Not too hot, not too cold. Make sure there's no light coming in. Make sure you could wear earplugs if you want to keep the noise out. And also wear an eye mask as well. And then at about dusk, what you want to do is you want to wear blue light blocker glasses. So as the light's going, pop the blue light blocker glasses on, and what they do is they help to regulate your melatonin, which will help with your estrogen balance, and it will also help with your cortisol as well. So it's really important to do that. You can get them online from Optimage, you can get them from eBay, you can get Gunners. So there are a few different ones, but they're really good at helping with your hormones and really good at helping with your cortisol levels. Finally, I wanted to talk to you about methylation and liver detoxification. So methylation is a really important process in the liver that helps cleanse the liver, detox the liver, and get rid of estrogen and other nasty things in your body. And methylation is the process that helps with, there's many different methylation processes in our body. There's DNA methylation, but I'm talking specifically about the cleansing and the detox in the liver. So methylation needs particular nutrients to help it. So the liver has what's called phase 2 detoxification, and methylation is a process within that which helps the body to convert fat-soluble hormones like estrogen, other things like chemicals and toxins, but in particular what I'm talking about is a fat-soluble estrogen down into water-soluble molecules to excrete it from your body. And a lot of people today, due to our lifestyle, due to all the chemicals in the environment, have an impeded methylation system. So what happens is the liver kind of starts to back up, it starts to slow down, it starts to get sluggish, and the whole cleansing and detoxifying process just gets a little bit skew-whiff, and it's unable to do it properly. In some cases, it actually turns estrogen into more dangerous molecules, which these are called estrogen metabolites, and they can cause things like endometriosis and even breast cancer, endometrial cancer, and ovarian cancer. So it's really important that your methylation process is working okay, because if it's not, you are going to have some issues. So to get your methylation working really well, you want to have the right nutrients. And the three main Bs that you need, B12, B6, and B9, are really, really important. So you can get B12 from things like liver, your meats, some fermented foods, cheeses, savory yeast flakes. One of the highest foods that has B12 in is actually liver. So liver pate, you could have a nice chicken liver pate, beef liver pate. It doesn't taste as nice, but it's very nutritious. So just adding a little bit of that into your diet, you'll get your B12. B12 is so very important. It's hard to get in our environment, especially if you're vegetarian or vegan. So you may want to supplement with a methyl B12. You can do a spray under the tongue or chewable. Taking tablets doesn't usually do the trick because it's very hard for us to absorb B12, and there may be issues with the absorption process. B9 and B6, B9, which is folate, again, very, very important. You can get that from all your leafy greens, your kale, your collard greens, your lettuce, your spinach, your Swiss chard. So all of those vegetables, so 2 cups of those vegetables a day will really give you your doses of folate that you need to help with the methylation process. If you're not getting your greens, if you're for some reason you can't eat those kind of greens, particularly if you're trying to get pregnant, you need to either be supplementing with a folate supplement, like a methylfolate supplement, or you could be doing a green juice daily, something like that to get your dose. But you really need that for the liver, and you need that nutrient for methylation. And then there's B6. B6 is really, really important. You can get B6 from legumes, nuts and seeds, and also meat. So those 3 Bs are very, very important. To help with methylation, you also want to make sure your stomach acid is really nice and strong, and it's digesting food and it's assimilating all the nutrients. The better your tummy is working, the better your methylation, and the better all the processes in your body will be working. So I would recommend taking apple cider vinegar, 2 teaspoons in water a day before one of your meals or first thing in the morning. If you can't do apple cider vinegar, you can try lemon, or if you know you've got real severe tummy problems going on, you have lots of reflux, heartburn, bloating, H. pylori or bad breath or anything like that, then I would recommend taking a supplement. So betaine hydrochloride, HCl. You can get that online from iHerb, or you can get Ethical Nutrients in the shops. They have a nice supplement. So you could try one of those and just get your tummy acid up, because getting your stomach acid up will not only get the processes working properly, it's going to protect you from parasites, from yeast, from fungi, and really get your immune system firing up as well. So those are my main tips. And then apart from that, I just wanted to give you a couple more tips to have in terms of estrogen dominance. So One thing is inflammation. Inflammation is really, really pivotal here, because normally with estrogen dominance, we do have a bit of inflammation, and that's why sometimes we can get a lot of pain. So the best supplement for inflammation, I mean, you can take this in powder form, is turmeric. So turmeric is wonderful as an anti-inflammatory. So I really advise you get a little bit of turmeric into your diet, get a little ginger into your diet to help with the estrogen. And broccoli sprout powder. Broccoli sprouts have been shown to have enormous amounts of antioxidants, which help, one, help prevent cancer, but two, help to reduce the amount of estrogen in your body. So broccoli sprout powder is very, very super duper strong and potent. You can pop it into your smoothie. You can try broccoli sprouts in terms of those little packets with the sprouts in. You can try those and see how they go. They are sometimes hard to get, but they're very, very high in sulforaphane, which is the antioxidant, the nutrient, so to speak, that helps protect against cancer and also remove estrogen from the body. So I would definitely bring those two things into your diet, the turmeric and the broccoli sprouts. And then also do the 2 cups of sulfur vegetables a day with the indoles in, your broccoli, your kale, your cabbage. If you have a FODMAP, if you have a problem if you have a problem digesting those foods because you get very, very bad wind, you can either 1, cook them really, really well, or you can 2, maybe take a supplement like DIM or indole or broccoli sprout supplements. There are supplements like that, because it's really important that you get these indoles and these sulfurous compounds into your body. So if you can't have cabbages because you have on the FODMAP diet, make sure you go extra with the probiotics. So if you've got FODMAPs, take 2 probiotics a day, and then take a supplement, because it's so important that you have these. You could try actually juicing and see how you go. So maybe a cold pressed juice with broccoli and those kind of things, and just see if that alleviates things and doesn't give you the wind. So I know that that's important for people that can't have those. You need to get those compounds into you. So those are my 5 top tips. We've got 40 grams of fiber, filtered water, foods with lots of indole in. We've got foods with sulfur in, nutrients to support that kind of like methylation, and then also help bringing toxins out of your daily life and just making sure that you're in an environment that's supporting your body and supporting your liver, because your liver is very, very important for helping manage out the estrogen dominance. So I hope you found that helpful today. I was a little bit late coming on, and then a little bit thrown because the internet wasn't working at work, and then I'm also home now, so it wasn't working here. But I hope you found that helpful, and thank you to those who joined me. Thanks, Ashley. It's great to have you on here. If you've got any questions, you can pop them below. And Ashley, if you've got any questions, you can ask me on the Facebook page. That's fine. In the Breakthrough group, happy to get some questions from you. I know you've got, you might have a few you want to ask. So thank you so much for joining me today. I hope you found that helpful, and feel free to comment and feel free to post any topics that you'd like to hear about. I tried to keep that simple today, but if you want me to go into anything in more detail, I can do that. I'm happy to do that. Anyway, enjoy the rest of your weekend. It was lovely popping in and seeing you, and I'll see you again soon. Bye.